Yesterday is a comedy fantasy kinda musical starring Himesh Patel, Lily James, Ed Sheeran, Joel Fry, and Kate McKinnon. It is directed by Danny Boyle and written by Richard Curtis. The story is about a struggling singer who wakes up after an accident to discover he's the only person in the world to have heard of the Beatles and their music. Jack Malik, played by Himesh Patel, is at his wits' end trying to make it as a singer-songwriter. After playing gigs to his small group of family and friends, he decides to call it quits, much to the dismay of his childhood friend and now manager, Ellie, played by Lily James. Soon after, a blackout envelops the globe in darkness, and Jack is hit by a bus on his way home. He wakes up to find that no one in the world remembers the Beatles or their songs. Jack uses this opportunity to launch his career as a musician with their music, while his conscience eats away at him. In the age of paying tribute to iconic bands and musicians, Yesterday has an unusual yet fascinating premise based on the Beatles, arguably the most influential band of all time. But as they attempt to think out of the box, director Danny Boyle and writer Richard Curtis seem to wind up against a wall with no interest of getting over, under, or around it. This is baffling considering their decorated body of work. Instead, Boyle and Curtis head off in another direction to focus on the romantic endeavors of Jack and Ellie, who are both inherently likable characters thanks to Himesh Patel and Lily James respectively. Jack realizes he could quickly become the greatest musician to have ever lived, and while he isn't able to make his peace with it, Himesh Patel makes it hard not to sympathize with Jack's decisions. He's also a really good singer, and that certainly helps. As a result, the first two acts breeze through on the endearing appeal of the lead pair, light humor, and timeless music of the Beatles. Sadly, some far-fetched storytelling decisions begin to take you out of the film's fantasy world in its third act. The writing and ultimately direction fall under the weight of living up to high expectations, leaving you with a few surprises, not all of them entirely pleasant. There's one sequence in particular that left me truly baffled. It actually makes sense to imagine what things could be like in this alternative reality, but it didn't quite land, at least not for me. The best surprise I had was to watch Ed Sheeran playing Ed Sheeran. That ended up as one of the film's highlights for me. But there isn't quite enough of him or any more of such fascinating moments. But I'm going with 3.5 stars for Yesterday. In the end, there isn't much of that whimsical edge that made the film promising. And there aren't any attempts at reason either, because why bother with logic when love is all you need? Pun intended. Still, while it may or may not please fans of the Beatles, Yesterday is a breezy, fun watch with ample charm. Guys, thanks for watching this review, and as always, stay tuned to It's Entertainment, only on Mirror Now, you first.